Can you believe SBS spent all its money sending me overseas to cover Eurovision? It's so fiscally irresponsible.
Thanks to 2016's winner Jamala, the greatest song contest in the history of all time is happening right here in Kiev, Ukraine, but with one country notably absent.
It's
Russia's Yulia Samolova was barred from entering Ukraine. It's the first time in the competition's history that a contestant's not allowed into the host country.
But despite the very real fear of being kicked, cut, slapped, smacked, smoked or arrested, we just had to ask, what is the deal with Ukraine and...
To answer that question is Christopher Miller.
They have been tight for millennia, but obviously those relations have been frayed. Over the conflict. But even before that, the annexation of Crimea.
In 2014, Russia seized control of Ukraine's Crimean Peninsula. Russian-backed troops basically rolled in and took over key landmarks in key cities. It was in response to the ousting of Ukraine's pro-Russian president. Now, Crimea is home to 2.3 million people, the majority of whom actually voted to join Russia in a referendum that Ukraine says was completely illegal.
So that kind of brought us to where we are now, which is this controversy that is kind of a new front in the conflict even.
So Eurovision is like the new front in the Russia-Ukraine conflict.
But yes, and here's why.
Yulia Samolova is the Russian singer. She had visited Crimea, the Crimean Peninsula that was annexed by Russia in 2015, where she performed. And she traveled to Crimea by way of Moscow.
For Ukraine, that's illegal and incurs a 3-year ban from entering the country.
If she had tried to enter Ukraine, what would the repercussions have been? Would she have been arrested at the airport? Would she have been deported?
No, she would have very likely been deported.
If that seems like an overreaction, what you've got to understand is that Crimea is just the tip. There's an iceberg.
Russia and Ukraine have a long history. Crimea is a perfect example. It was actually part of Russia for like 200 years, until 1954 when it was gifted to Ukraine by this guy. Story goes he did it in 15 minutes and may or may not have been drunk, but that is not the point. The point is there are deep underlying tensions here. Let's just say Russia and Ukraine's relationship has gone through all the status options on Facebook. Like right now, they're divorced. And that is putting it mildly.
Very mildly. I mean, a few years ago, people were getting killed in this very square for protesting. And yeah, the capital does seem peaceful for the time being, but in eastern Ukraine, it's a very different story.
They're currently engaged in what is the deadliest conflict since the Balkan War. We've seen as many as 10,000 people, possibly more, killed in the conflict. Russia is really solidifying its grip on both the peninsula and eastern Ukraine.
So suddenly, Ukraine banning Russia from entering Eurovision? Not the most pressing issue, especially for Ukrainians.